Good evening, everyone. You're watching Awaz News. I'm Kubra Ali, and I'll be taking you to top news across Canada.
Hamilton police say they have released doorbell camera footage of a daylight distraction theft targeting a senior at a home near Hamilton in an attempt to identify the perpetrator. In the video of the incident, which occurred at around 3:30 p.m. on September 8, a homeowner in Flamborough, a rural area of Hamilton, can be seen opening the door for a woman. The woman waits on the doorstep for the elderly victim to come outside to meet her, and at one point, the suspect embraces the victim with a hug and a kiss. During the greeting, the suspect replaced the victim's genuine gold necklace with a fake. Police described the suspect as a 5 feet 7 inches tall, about 40 years old, and was last seen in a dark vehicle with visible front-end damage. Police say that the distraction theft technique often involves suspects offering jewelry, hugs, or thanks for directions as a way to get close and steal personal valuables. Hamilton police have reported a spike in distraction thefts this year. In 2021, the service said it saw only 9 thefts, significantly fewer than the 54 reported in 2024. Between January and August of this year, 43 distraction thefts were reported to police. Investigators warn the public to be wary of people who insist on hugs or jewelry gifts, to keep jewelry secured, and to avoid wearing expensive items when alone in public spaces. Prosecutors brought a murder charge Tuesday against the man accused of assassinating Charlie Kirk and outlined evidence, including a text message confession to his partner and a note left beforehand saying he had the opportunity to kill one of the nation's leading conservative voices, and I am going to take it. DNA on the trigger of the rifle that killed Kirk also matched that of the Tyler Robinson, said Utah County Attorney Jeff Grace said in announcing the charges that could result in the death penalty if Robinson is convicted. The prosecutor said Robinson wrote in one text that he spent more than a week planning the attack on Kirk, a prominent force in politics credited with energizing the Republican youth movement and helping Donald Trump win back the White House in 2024. Kirk was gunned down September 10th while speaking with students at Utah Valley University. Prosecutors allege Robinson shot Kirk in the neck with a bolt-action rifle from the roof of a nearby building on the campus in Orem, about 40 miles, 64 kilometers south of Salt Lake City. Robinson was scheduled to appear on camera for a virtual court hearing Tuesday afternoon. There was no attorney listed in Utah online court docket for Robinson, even after charges were filed, and his family has declined to comment to the Associated Press. Authorities have not revealed a clear motive in the shooting, but Gray said that Robinson wrote in a text about Kirk to his partner, "I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out." Robinson also left a note for his partner that said, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it," according to Gray. The prosecutor declined to answer whether Robinson targeted Kirk for his anti-transgender views. Kirk was shot while taking a question that touched on mass shootings, gun violence, and transgender people. Robinson was involved in a romantic relationship with his roommate, a man who investigators say was transgender, which hasn't been confirmed. Gray said the partner has been cooperating with the investigators. A Utah Valley University police officer was watching the university campus crowd from an elevated position and identified the roof of the Losee Center as a potential position for a shooter, Gray said. The officer found evidence on the roof immediately, he said, and spurred officers to direct their attention to surveillance video leading to the roof. Gray said Robinson's DNA was found on the trigger of the rifle. He said Robinson discarded the rifle and clothing and asked his roommate to conceal evidence. Robinson also was charged with felony discharge of a firearm, punishable by up to life in prison, and obstructing justice, punishable by up to 15 years in prison. He also was charged with witness tampering because he had directed his partner to delete their text messages and told him to stay silent if questioned by police, Gray said. Robinson appears to have stayed in the area after shooting Kirk and ditching his rifle, authorities said. In a text exchange with his partner released by authorities, Robinson wrote, "I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering." The text shared in court documents do not have timestamps, and it's unclear how long after the shooting Robinson was texting. Robinson was arrested late Thursday near St. George, the southern Utah community where he grew up. Investigators have spoken to Robinson's relatives and carried out a search warrant at his family's home in Washington, Utah, about 240 miles, 390 kilometers southwest of where the shooting happened. Kirk, a dominant figure in conservative politics, became a confidant of the President Donald Trump after founding Arizona-based Turning Point USA, one of the nation's largest political organizations. He brought young conservatives, evangelical Christians into politics. His shooting raised fears about increasing political violence in a deeply polarized United States. Toronto police are searching for a suspect who was seen carrying a gun at the Scarborough High School, which caused a temporary lockdown on Tuesday afternoon. Police said they were called to Wexford Collegiate School of the Arts at 1176 Pharmacy Avenue, just north of Lawrence Avenue East, just before noon after a gun was seen at the school. Just before 2:05 p.m., the Toronto District School Board announced the lockdown had ended. In a letter to parents and guardians after the lockdown, the school's principal said a student had seen someone with a weapon in the building. As the lockdown was initiated during lunchtime, students who returned to the school from the lunch offsite were redirected to our evacuation site at Maryvale Public School, Principal Nandini Saw wrote. Once police established there was no credible threat to the school, the lockdown was lifted and classes resumed. We always want to take every precaution to ensure the safety of our students and staff, Saw said. We will continue to take any necessary steps to ensure our students and staff are safe. There are no reported injuries. In an update, Toronto police say they did not locate a firearm after searching the school. Despite that, the person seen with the gun remains outstanding. Police described the male suspect as being 5'7" with blonde hair and was last seen wearing a blue shirt and black pants. Ontario Premier Doug Ford believes Prime Minister Mark Carney will back his idea for a tunnel under Highway 401 through the Greater Toronto Area, though it is unclear if he had received any such assurances from Ottawa. Carney recently named the first 5 projects in the national interest that will be fast-tracked, which is intended to strengthen the country's economy, particularly in the face of U.S. tariffs. One Ontario project was on the initial list, building small modular nuclear reactors, and Ford said Tuesday that accessing the province's critical mineral-rich Ring of Fire region will be the next set of projects. It received a nod in Carney's announcement, along with energy, high-speed rail, and port projects, suggesting the federal government will indeed work with provinces to bring those to fruition down the line. But Ford said he also thinks Carney will help to accelerate building a tunnel under Highway 401, though he did not directly answer when asked if Carney has given him any direct assurances. I just believe he will, Ford said while in the Niagara region at the International Plowing Match, an annual expo that celebrates agriculture and rural living. The tunnel was on Ford's list of 5 suggested projects to Carney, which also included a new James Bay deep sea port and expanded GO train service. The Premier has pitched it as a way to ease gridlock and boost productivity in the Toronto area, though critics have dismissed it as fantasy. NDP leader Marit Stiles said including a prospective tunnel under Highway 401 in Ford's wish list to Carney just muddies the water on the province's priorities. Ontario has issued a request for proposals for a tunnel feasibility study and has not yet selected a proponent, but the government appears to be forging ahead with plans. Ford last month said his plans is to have a 19.5-meter wide 3-level tunnel with one level going eastbound, one for westbound traffic, and a bottom level for transit. The premier has said he wants to consider a tunnel from Brampton and Mississauga in the west to Scarborough and Markham in the east. The request for proposal says the feasibility study should also consider shorter tunnel lengths and stop-start locations considering Highway 410 and 427 and Highway 404. Finance Minister Francois-Philippe Champagne says the government will table the federal budget on November 4th. The long-awaited spending plan will be the federal Liberals' first under Prime Minister Mark Carney and comes as Ottawa's budget watchdog says. He's worried about a lack of fiscal prudence. It also will be Champagne's first budget as finance minister. He announced the date during question period Tuesday. He said the plan will offer a generational investment in Canada's future. We are going to present a great budget in his house on the 4th of November, Mr. Speaker said. We are going to build this country, Mr. Speaker. We are going to protect our communities. We are going to empower Canadians. Carney has billed the budget as one of both cost-cutting and investment as Ottawa looks to protect Canada's economy against U.S. trade disruption. The federal budget typically arrives in the spring, but the Liberals delayed it until the fall. The minority Liberal government will need support from at least one other party to pass the budget during the fall session of Parliament. Carney has announced a series of big-ticket spending items since the spring election, including billions of dollars in new spending on defense and infrastructure. The federal government also cut personal tax rates in the lowest tax bracket by a percentage point as of July and announced an expenditure review to trim day-to-day spending across the public service. Many fiscal observers are expecting the federal deficit to balloon in the fall budget. Carney has pledged to balance the operating side of the budget within 3 years, even as capital spending is expected to grow. Jason Jacks, the interim Parliamentary Budget Officer, told the House of Commons Committee on Tuesday that he wasn't sure if the federal government still has its fiscal anchors. Jack cited the previous Liberal government's fiscal anchors, keeping the annual deficit at 1% of GDP and declining debt to GDP ratio, but said it's not clear whether the Carney regime would stick to those metrics. He added the Liberals still haven't said how capital and operating expenses will be divided in the upcoming budget. Jacks, a mainstay at the PBO's office, was appointed 2 weeks ago to a 6-month term after his predecessor Yves Gurock's terms expired without a permanent successor in place. Police identified the 23-year-old victim of a fatal shooting in Scarborough on Monday evening. The shooting happened near Kingston and Galloway Roads at around 10:20 p.m. on Monday. Police said officers responded to the area after receiving calls about the sounds of gunshots, adding a man in his 20s was shot. Officers said the victim suffered gunshot wounds and was later pronounced dead. Speaking to reporters on Tuesday afternoon, Sergeant Phil Campbell identified the victim as Shaker Clark Johnson Sargent. I do have information that he had a rap persona. To the extent of that, I really don't know, Campbell said. Police say they arrested one suspect, though one more suspect remains at large. We believe there was planning and deliberation, Campbell said. They did not provide details about the suspects during the news conference. Residents of the area can expect an increased police presence as officers continue to canvass for evidence, including any witnesses and video, Campbell said. The investigation is ongoing. Police are asking anyone with footage or additional information to contact them or Crime Stoppers anonymously. A Farm Boys store in Toronto's Annex area has temporarily closed for preventive maintenance, according to a note posted on its door after receiving conditional pass last month by the city's Dine Safe program. The Farm Boy at 740 DuPont Street, just west of Christie Street, was closed on Tuesday but is slated to reopen at 8 a.m. on Wednesday. We anticipate reopening in a timely manner. We apologize for the inconvenience and appreciate your patience as we take every step to provide the safest possible environment. The memo reads, pointing customers to other nearby locations at 81 St. Clair Avenue East and 29 Bathurst Street. In a statement provided to Awaz News, Farm Boy indicated it is taking proactive and preventive measures and closed its Dupont Christie location to ensure the health, safety, and well-being of our customers and team members. We apologize for the inconvenience and appreciate our customers' patience as we take every step to provide the safest possible environment, a spokesperson wrote. On August 27th, inspectors observed 3 dine-safe infractions at this Farm Boy location. One was deemed significant for failing to protect against harboring of pests, and a ticket was issued pending a September 16 re-inspection. The 2 other infractions were found to be minor in nature and were for failing to ensure equipment surface was sanitized as necessary and failing to protect against the entry of pests. Receiving a yellow or conditional dine-safe card does not mean that a premises must close. Toronto Public Health, TPH, told Awaz News, has not conducted any additional inspection since the date noted on DineSafe webpage, and the current closure of the store is not the result of any further inspection by TPH. The Farm Boy on DuPont Avenue passed its previous inspection on February 5th, but received a conditional pass with 1 or more infractions observed the month prior. Tuesday's move comes less than 2 weeks after another Farm Boy store in the city at 2149 Yonge Street was shut down after failing a food safety inspection. The City of Toronto's DineSafe website indicates the store was last inspected on September 8 and subsequently ordered to close after inspectors observed 1 or more crucial infractions under the food premises regulation that present an immediate health hazard that cannot be corrected during an inspection. Farm Boy's Yonge location received a red card for 4 infractions, 2 of which are deemed crucial for food premise maintained and manner permitting health hazard, and for failing to protect food from contamination or adulteration. The Midtown supermarket was also handed a significant infraction for failing to protect against harboring of pests and a minor one for food premise not being maintained with food handling room in sanitary condition. The health unit said this notice requires the store to close to the public immediately and remain closed until all health hazards are corrected.
Thank you for tuning in. I'm Kubra Ali. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same channel. Have a good night.